Standing on a high observation deck at dusk, I looked out over a vast megacity stretching endlessly in every direction. Towers of glass and concrete reflected the fading sunlight, highways pulsed with moving lights, and millions of lives unfolded at the same time. Megacities are often described as chaotic, overwhelming, or unsustainable, yet beneath the noise and density, they speak a hidden language, one that reveals how humanity is learning to survive, adapt, and imagine a sustainable future. Deciphering the sustainable future of global megacities begins with understanding their contradictions. These cities concentrate wealth, innovation, and opportunity, while also intensifying inequality, pollution, and resource consumption. They are responsible for a large share of global emissions, but they are also laboratories where solutions are tested at scale. Every subway line, green rooftop, and digital traffic system is a sentence in the story of urban survival. At street level, sustainability appears in small, almost invisible ways. A network of bike lanes replaces short car trips. Sensors adjust street lighting to save energy. Urban farms grow vegetables on rooftops and abandoned lots, shortening food supply chains and reconnecting residents with nature. These changes may seem minor, but when multiplied across millions of people, they reshape the city's environmental footprint. Water management offers another clue. In many megacities, rain is no longer treated as waste, but as a resource. Permeable sidewalks absorb water, artificial wetlands filter runoff, and underground reservoirs store rain for dry seasons. These systems reflect a shift from domination of nature to cooperation with it. The city learns to breathe with the climate rather than fight against it. Transportation reveals the social dimension of sustainability. Electrified buses, high-speed rail, and shared mobility platforms reduce emissions, but they also redefine access. When public transport is reliable and affordable, opportunities expand beyond wealthy neighborhoods. A sustainable city is not only green, it is fair. Equity becomes a form of environmental protection because unequal cities waste human potential and generate social tension. Technology acts as both translator and amplifier. Data platforms monitor energy use, traffic flow, and air quality in real time. Artificial intelligence predicts demand and prevents breakdowns before they happen. However, data alone does not guarantee sustainability. Without ethical governance, smart systems can deepen surveillance and exclusion. The challenge is to ensure that innovation serves the public good rather than narrow interests. As night falls, the megacity glows brighter, consuming enormous amounts of energy. Yet even this spectacle is changing. Buildings designed with passive cooling, efficient materials, and renewable energy integration reduce their demand. The skyline becomes a symbol not only of human ambition, but of learning. Each sustainable experiment, successful or not, contributes knowledge that can be shared across borders. Deciphering megacities means reading these patterns together. Sustainability is not a single solution, but a complex conversation between infrastructure, culture, technology, and governance. The future of megacities depends on whether this conversation leads toward resilience or deeper fragility. Looking ahead, the sustainable future of global megacities will be defined by their ability to adapt to uncertainty. Climate change, population growth, migration, and economic shocks will test urban systems repeatedly. The question is no longer whether cities will face crises, but whether they can respond creatively and inclusively when they do. Resilience begins with people. Community-based planning empowers residents to participate in shaping their neighborhoods. When citizens co-design public spaces, energy projects, and mobility solutions, sustainability becomes lived experience rather than abstract policy. Local knowledge helps cities respond to heat waves, floods, and social stress in ways that centralized planning alone cannot achieve. Food systems illustrate this shift clearly. Future megacities cannot rely entirely on distant supply chains vulnerable to disruption. Vertical farms, community gardens, and regional food networks reduce risk while creating green jobs. Food becomes not just a commodity, but a tool for social cohesion and environmental education. Housing represents one of the greatest challenges. Sustainable futures require dense but humane living environments. Innovative designs emphasize mixed-use neighborhoods, natural light, ventilation, and shared spaces. Affordable housing is essential. Without it, sustainability becomes a luxury. A city that forces essential workers to live far from their jobs increases emissions and fractures social bonds. Energy transitions will shape the urban century. Megacities are investing in decentralized renewable systems, such as solar microgrids and energy storage. These systems reduce dependence on fossil fuels while increasing resilience during outages. When buildings become both consumers and producers of energy, the city transforms into a dynamic ecosystem rather than a one-way machine. Governance remains the decisive factor. Long-term sustainability requires political courage and global cooperation. Policies must balance economic growth with environmental limits and short-term demands with long-term survival. Cities increasingly learn from one another, forming transnational networks to share data, strategies, and failures. In this way, megacities become teachers as well as learners. Cultural imagination also matters. Art, storytelling, and education shape how residents perceive their city and its future. When sustainability is framed as sacrifice, resistance grows. When it is framed as opportunity, clean air, vibrant streets, meaningful work, it becomes desirable. A sustainable city must be emotionally compelling as well as technically efficient. In the end, deciphering global megacities' sustainable futures is about understanding choice. These urban giants can continue patterns that exhaust the planet, or they can become engines of regeneration. The infrastructure is being built, the ideas are emerging, and the knowledge is spreading. What remains is the collective decision to act. As dawn breaks over the city once more, the streets fill with movement and possibility. Within that daily rhythm lies the answer to the future. Megacities will not be saved by a single invention or policy, but by millions of small, deliberate decisions that align human ambition with the limits of the Earth. As global megacities continue to expand, their influence now reaches far beyond their physical borders. They shape national economies, global supply chains, cultural trends, and even political decisions. Deciphering their sustainable futures, therefore, requires confronting a difficult reality. Power in megacities is unevenly distributed, and sustainability cannot succeed without addressing inequality. In many megacities, luxury districts powered by renewable energy exist just kilometers away from informal settlements struggling with unreliable electricity, unsafe water, and polluted air. This contrast reveals a central truth of urban sustainability. Environmental solutions that ignore social justice are incomplete. A city cannot call itself sustainable if resilience is reserved for the wealthy. Infrastructure often exposes these divides. Flood defenses protect financial centers, while poorer neighborhoods absorb climate risks. Green spaces flourish in affluent areas, while dense districts lack trees, shade, or clean public areas. Deciphering the future means recognizing these patterns not as accidents, but as results of planning choices. Sustainability is political, whether acknowledged or not. Labor is another hidden layer. Megacities depend on millions of workers: cleaners, drivers, delivery riders, construction laborers, whose work keeps urban systems functioning. Yet these workers are often excluded from decision-making and long-term security. A sustainable future demands dignified work, safe conditions, and economic inclusion. Without this, cities may appear efficient while remaining fundamentally fragile. Migration intensifies these challenges. Megacities attract people seeking opportunity, safety, or survival. Climate change is already increasing climate-driven migration, pushing cities to absorb new populations under stress. Sustainable planning must anticipate this movement, not treat it as a crisis after it occurs. Inclusive housing, flexible infrastructure, and social services become essential tools of resilience. Corporate influence also shapes urban futures. Technology firms, real estate developers, and energy companies increasingly design city systems. Their investments can accelerate sustainability, but they can also prioritize profit over public need. Transparent governance and strong public institutions are required to align private innovation with long-term collective benefit. Education plays a quiet but transformative role. Cities that invest in sustainability education, from schools to public campaigns, create citizens who understand systems rather than just symptoms. When residents grasp how energy, water, transport, and consumption connect, they make more informed choices. Urban sustainability becomes a shared responsibility rather than a distant policy goal. Ultimately, deciphering megacities means asking uncomfortable questions. Who benefits from green development? Who bears the risks? Who gets to decide the future? The answers determine whether sustainability becomes a unifying vision or another layer of inequality. The most forward-thinking megacities are beginning to move beyond sustainability as mere survival. Their goal is regeneration. Cities that actively restore ecosystems, strengthen communities, and improve quality of life over time. This shift marks a profound change in how urban futures are imagined. Regenerative cities treat waste as a resource. Organic waste becomes energy or fertilizer. Construction materials are reused rather than discarded. Circular economies reduce extraction while creating local employment. Instead of linear consumption, cities adopt cycles that mimic natural systems. Nature itself is being redesigned into urban form. Rivers, once buried underground, are restored. Wildlife corridors reconnect fragmented ecosystems. Urban forests reduce heat, absorb carbon, and improve mental health. These changes remind residents that cities are not separate from nature, they are part of it. Technology continues to evolve, but its role becomes quieter and more integrated. Rather than dominating urban life, smart systems fade into the background, supporting efficiency without constant attention. The success of future megacities may be measured not by how advanced they appear, but by how naturally they function. Cultural identity remains central. Each megacity must shape its own sustainable path, grounded in local history, climate, and values. There is no universal blueprint. What works in Tokyo differs from what works in Lagos or Sao Paulo. Global learning matters, but local wisdom guides adaptation. Perhaps the most important transformation is psychological. When people feel ownership of their city, they protect it. When they believe change is possible, they participate. Sustainable futures depend as much on hope as on infrastructure. Without hope, even the best systems fail through neglect or resistance. As the century unfolds, megacities will face repeated tests. Some will struggle, some will adapt, and some will lead. Their choices will shape not only urban life, but the fate of the planet itself. Deciphering their futures is therefore not an academic exercise, it is a collective responsibility. In the rhythm of daily life, in crowded trains, quiet parks, busy markets, and glowing windows at night, the future is already being written. The question is whether megacities will remain symbols of excess and division or evolve into models of balance, resilience, and shared prosperity. The answer lies not in distant visions, but in the decisions made today, street by street, neighborhood by neighborhood, city by city.